Okay, the next one we're going to do is slideshow, so photo slideshow. So I'm going to do a slideshow that only to show 3 photos. Now you can add as many photos as you want, but I'm just going to use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript for the slideshow. So I'm just going to explain it. There's tips in here. So I'm going to put my slideshow in the main. So where is the writing in here? So underneath it in the main division, I'm going to do the slideshow. So first of all, I'm going to create a div called slideshow. Slideshow, and a div main, a section. And then in here, I'm going to first add the images. So again, because I want all the images to follow one format, so I'm going to give it a name called slides. Now I'm going to choose the source of the image. This is just as you normally add an image. So where I'm going to save it. Okay, so I'm going to do a folder called images. Inside the folder of the Spaces School, I'm going to choose the images there. So first of all, I'm going to create the folder. I'm going to copy and paste the folder that I've got at the moment. So you can see I've got the Spaces School folder. So I'm just going to put it in here. So that's my hot docs. I'm going to got the Spaces School, and I've got the CSS, and the PHP is the one that I've created. And then I created an image folder, and it has all the images. Now the images that I'm using is the .png format. Okay, the ones that I've created in Illustrator. Now I'm going to go back to my things here. So once you write the images, okay, I'll just save it and then continue. Okay, so you can see it should, well, we're just going to put AI, the image.png, style, and I would want the width to fill out the folder itself, so that's why I'm going to use width. Actually, I'm going to leave the style and the style in there, so I'm just going to close it now. I'm going to copy and paste this. 3 times. Just going to 3 images. I'm just going to check what are the other names in the folder. Yeah, so I've got images. I did AI, AJ, AK. It needs to be exactly as the name AK. So I think I've got all of them capital letters. Yes, and .png. So it needs to be exactly with the format. So now I've added the images. Now here before the slide, then I'm going to add now the 2 buttons at the bottom. You know, the next and previous and next, just to navigate between the images. So I'm going to add them. They are just normal buttons. Oops. So it's a button, and I want class. So I'm going to call one as left or next or whatever, previous, whatever you want to call it. On click. So when you click it, I want to call this function plus pick -1. So next picture, -1. -1 mean because I'm going left, so I'm going to go less picture. So the index -1, so the previous picture, basically. Okay, so just make sure that's in quotation marks because HTML only understands text. So we have to put it in quotation mark to say it's a text. And close that bracket. And now I'm going to write previous. I think I spelled it correct. No, there's another E, I think. Well, if it's the wrong spelling, you just fix it, guys. I'm going to do the same, but this time I'm going to go right. And this time, because I'm going, so it's going to be +1, which is +1. And this is next. Okay, oops. Alright, so now this button. So now we've closed the div. The next bit is we're going to create that function. So we already got a JavaScript in here, or the Java tag. So I'm just going to create the function here. Now the function, it's index. It means you need to have a variable called index because you're going in order, like, you know, first picture, second picture, third picture, whatever. So I'm going to, inside the script, I'm going to use a variable. I'm going to create a variable called index. And I'm going to give it 1. So that's the first picture. And I'm going to create a function called show divs with with index. So which div you're showing, because each picture is a div. Okay, so this one here just basically calling a function called show divs. Okay, I don't need that gap. And in the gaps, by the way, those tabs means nothing in JavaScript. It's just me. When I write a code, I do like to be in block. Just my way, really. Okay, so the next one, I'm gonna write that functions, because we said when you click it, you're gonna call this functions. Where are we? Over here, that bit here. So that function, just copy and paste in here. So I'm gonna create a function. This is the name of the function, and obviously in that function's called, I'm just sending a variable x, mean the number of the slide. Doesn't have to use the same variable, by the way, name. Hopefully you remember that from last year. And in there, all is just calling a function called show divs, and then it doing index the moment plus equal x. So that's all doing. So you could do this another way. Next picture, basically. Okay, so all it's doing is saying, okay, I want you to show their next picture. Now, if this x is -1 as this one here, so obviously it's going to go to the previous picture. So it's just numbers. You're playing out with numbers. Now, we've created this function. The next function we're going to create is actually show div, because that's a function that we will have to create. So show divs. And I'm going to send x to it. Oops. Okay, now in here it's index, so it needs to be, you need to have a variable, and you have to check if the number that you're sending is within the number of pictures. So when you say number 4, for example, they know that you only have 3 pictures, so there is no number 4. That means you want the first picture. So all these type of if conditions that we're going to do. So the first one is I'm going to create a variable called I. Oh, I have not put semicolon here. Okay, a variable called I. I'm going to do a variable called n equal, that one I would not call n, maybe item, just to make it a bit more common sense. Okay, so now I'm going to get the list. Remember, we called all the functions, all the photos, we give them a class. So at the moment we're getting how many classes really you have. So element by I class name, because we've got class name, we did not use ID. You can use ID or class name, they all give you the same thing, by the way. And the class we've called is slides. So that one is this, basically, because I want to see how many pictures I have. So close that brackets, close that semicolon, and now I'm going to make an if statement to check if x, the variable that I'm sending, is greater than item dot length if it's greater than, so what do? You're gonna make the SlideShow, you're gonna make the index equal 1. So if it's more than what you accept, you go back to the first slide. Else, if x is less than item dot length, mean negative, you're gonna go negative in here. Oh, sorry, if less than 1, sorry, it's a negative. Then you go to the final picture, and the final picture is index equal item dot length. Yep, I think that's giving me the final. I've spelled it wrong here. Okay, so what it says here, if you're going more than 3, because we only have 3 pictures, if you're going more than 3, display the first picture. If you're going less than 3, you're going to, if you're going less than 1, mean 0, -1, -2, whatever, it's 0 mainly, then you are making the index to be the last picture. Okay, so that just to navigate in between. Otherwise, for the rest of the stuff, not in if, outside the if, for I equals 0, I'm just making now my for loop. I less than item dot length, and I plus plus. That's the way to create a loop. So it's basically initializing the 0, you're going over all the pictures, and then I just adding it, really I plus plus, adding one at a time. Now we're going to do item to the I. We're going to show each picture. Dot display equal. Now you can choose the style, really display it in blocks and nothing. I said nothing now. You can create the style in here in different ways. Practice and change. Now the last bit, what's left? I'll just read it. Yep, adding it in here. Okay, so now I want to view the whole slideshow as a block. So item, slide, index -1, dot style, dot display equal block. Actually, I'm going to make this one block. So just to be consistent, because I displayed everything in blocks, so I'm just going to display this in blocks. So that's the JavaScript, how to view the links. So I'm just going to run it and see. So now the next one is, obviously we need to style it. So I did slides in here. I wanted 100%, so it takes from the main section. I want to fill it out. Object fit fill means if your photo is bigger than the slideshow or smaller, it will actually fit it to, it will stretch it or stretch it or squeeze it to fit. And object position, I want it in the center. This is a slideshow. This is my class. I want it to take that much space width-wise. This is, I'll change it to percentage afterwards when I do the responsive. And this is just the dot to and right, left and right buttons. So I want the color, radius, and all of this here. That's it. So now if I run it, it will look like that. So you go next, you go previous, and